She didn't just disrespect you. She dismantled you piece by piece in front of an audience that didn't even know they were watching a public execution. You're replaying it now, aren't you? The precise moment the air in the room changed. Her words, delivered not with the heat of anger, but with the cold, sterile precision of a surgeon's scalpel. It was a calculated strike, designed to sever the tendons of your self-respect, and it landed perfectly. You felt it. The sudden chill in your veins, the forced smile that felt like cracking glass on your face, the desperate search of the eyes around you for a sign that you weren't the only one who saw what just happened. But they didn't. To them, it was a joke, a playful jab. To her, it was a test of your frame. A test you were, and still are, spectacularly failing. She watched you crumble. Not on the outside, of course. On the outside, you held it together with cheap glue and wishful thinking. You laughed it off, maybe you even agreed with her. Anything to defuse the social bomb she had just detonated in your lap. But inside, the structure of your reality collapsed. She saw it in the flicker of your eyes, the slight tremor in your hand as you reached for your drink. She saw the boy who was just told he wasn't good enough, the man who was just informed of his own irrelevance. And in that moment, she confirmed her hypothesis. You were hers to control. Your emotional state was a lever she could pull anytime she felt bored, anytime she needed to re-establish her dominance. The worst part is not what she did. The worst part is what you are planning to do next. You are crafting the apology in your head. You are preparing to go to her, tail between your legs, and ask what you did wrong. You are ready to forgive her for an attack she will never even acknowledge was an attack. You call it keeping the peace. You call it being the bigger man. Nietzsche had a name for this impulse. He called it slave morality, the instinct of the weak to relabel their powerlessness as a virtue. You are not choosing grace. You are choosing the comfort of your chains. Your desire to forgive is not a sign of strength. It is a symptom of a deep-seated terror of confrontation, a pathological need for a woman's approval, even when that approval is granted from a position of absolute contempt for you. She handed you a cup of poison, and you are about to thank her for it, promising to drink it every time she offers. This act of premature, unearned forgiveness is the final nail in your coffin. It is the signal you send to her and to the world that your boundaries are nothing more than suggestions, that your respect is a commodity to be taken at will, and that your power is a myth. It solidifies your role as the court jester in her kingdom, the one who can be mocked and belittled, who will always come back smiling, begging for another scrap of affection. If the echo of that humiliation is ringing in your ears right now, you have found your war room. This is not a place for consolation. This is a forge. Subscribe to Dominio Psicologico, activate all notifications, and press the like button to signal you are ready for the campaign ahead. In the comments, I want to know two things. What city are you watching from? And what was the single moment you realized that being the bigger person was just a code for unconditional surrender? Your testimony is a weapon. Share it. Because what we are about to build here is not a bridge back to her. It is a fortress, built upon the ruins of the man she thought she had broken. A fortress of strategic silence, emotional detachment, and an unbreakable frame. She expects you to come crawling back, begging for the illusion of normalcy to be restored. But what happens when you don't? What happens when, instead of words of forgiveness, you offer her nothing but the deafening roar of your indifference? What happens when she reaches for the lever of your emotions and finds that it has been disconnected, that the control panel is dead, and that the man she thought she had mastered is now a ghost she can no longer touch? This is where the real war begins. The war for your soul. And the first rule of this war is simple. You do not forgive. You outlast. Let's dissect the anatomy of your defeat. It wasn't a sudden ambush. It was a slow, methodical siege that you helped orchestrate. You handed her the maps to your own fortress, pointed out the structural weaknesses, and left the gates unlocked. The humiliation you feel now is not the wound. It is the symptom of a disease you have allowed to fester for months, perhaps years. This is the cold, hard diagnosis of your fall from power. It happened in stages, each one a link in the chain that now binds you. The first stage was emotional concession. It began innocently. She had a bad day at work, and you made it your mission to fix it. Her anxiety became your problem to solve. Her fleeting sadness became a verdict on your ability to make her happy. You took ownership of her emotional state, believing this was the duty of a caring partner. This was your first, and perhaps most critical, strategic error. You volunteered to be the court jester, dancing and singing to manage the queen's moods. By doing this, you gave her the most powerful weapon imaginable, a direct remote control to your own inner peace. Your well-being became contingent on her approval. If she was happy, you were allowed to be happy. If she was displeased, you were thrown into a state of anxious servitude, desperately trying to diagnose the problem and offer a solution. You taught her that her emotions were not her own responsibility, but a tool she could use to command your attention and direct your actions. She tested, you yielded, she won. This led directly to the second stage, the loss of your frame. Your reality began to dissolve into hers. A frame is your perception of the world, your principles, your mission. It is the unshakable foundation upon which you build your life. When you made her emotional state your priority, you placed her frame above your own. Your plans with friends became flexible. Your personal goals became negotiable. Your non-negotiable boundaries became suggestions. It happened in small ways you barely noticed. You wanted to go to the gym, but she didn't feel like being alone, so you stayed. You had a project to work on, but she was bored and wanted to watch a movie, so your ambition was placed on hold. Each time you abandoned your own path to walk hers, you told her, "Your world is more important than mine. Your desires are more valid than my commitments." You were no longer the protagonist of your own story. You were a supporting character in hers. And supporting characters don't get respect. They get used. The man she was initially attracted to, the one with his own life, his own drive, his own world, you sacrificed him piece by piece on the altar of her comfort. Once your frame was shattered, you entered the third stage, validation seeking. Having lost your own internal compass, you began to desperately look to her for direction. Her approval became your North Star. You started asking questions that reeked of insecurity. "Are we okay?" After a minor disagreement. "Are you mad at me?" When she was quiet for more than 5 minutes. "Did you have a good time?" Seeking a 5-star review for an evening you orchestrated solely for her approval. These questions were not about connection. They were pleas for reassurance from a man adrift. You were a ship without a rudder, begging the ocean for permission to sail. You outsourced your self-worth. You gave her the power to define your value. And she learned quickly that by withholding her approval, she could make you do anything. She could make you apologize for things you didn't do. She could make you agree to things you didn't believe in. She could make you work harder and harder for a scrap of validation that she would grant or withhold at her whim. You were no longer her partner. You were her subject, constantly performing for a nod of royal assent. This addiction to her validation is the fourth stage, affective dependency. At this point, you are a full-blown addict. Her mood is your drug. A warm text in the morning gives you a high that lasts for hours. A cold, one-word response sends you into a spiral of withdrawal, analyzing every possible meaning, replaying every recent interaction, consumed with the desperate need to figure out what you did wrong so you can get your next fix. Your emotional state is no longer your own. It is a direct reflection of her. You have no sovereignty. She holds the deed to your soul. This is the point of absolute powerlessness. This is where she can disrespect you publicly, because she knows you are too terrified of the withdrawal to challenge her. You will absorb any humiliation, accept any insult, just to avoid the agony of her disapproval. She doesn't have to respect you because you have demonstrated, through 1,000 small actions, that you do not respect yourself. You have taught her that your need for her is greater than your need for your own dignity. And that brings us to the final stage, the one you are contemplating right now, breaking the silence with an apology. This is the act of unconditional surrender. After she has tested you, broken your frame, made you a validation-seeking addict, and disrespected you, your instinct is to go to her and ask, "What did I do wrong?" Your plan is to talk it through, to fix things. You believe this is an act of maturity, of being the bigger man. Nietzsche would call it the final triumph of slave morality. You have so thoroughly internalized your own powerlessness that you are now willing to label your cowardice as virtue. Let me be brutally clear. When you ask for forgiveness for an offense committed against you, you sign your surrender. You are validating her attack. You are agreeing that her disrespect was justified. You are begging your conqueror to be gentle. You are cementing her belief, beyond any doubt, that you are hers to command. Her silence after she has disrespected you is not inattention. It is a display of dominance. She is waiting to see what you will do. She is watching to see if you will crawl. And when you do, the game is over. You have lost. If you recognize the chilling accuracy of this diagnosis in your own life, if you have felt the slow, sickening erosion of your own power, then this is your line in the sand. This is the moment you stop the bleeding. Prove to yourself that you are ready to reclaim your sovereignty by hitting the like button as a declaration of war against your own weakness. Subscribe to Dominio Psicologico and activate all notifications, because this channel is now your strategic command center. And I want you to answer this in the comments. Not for me, but for you. What was the specific, small compromise you made that you now recognize as the first crack in your foundation? Was it a canceled plan? An ignored opinion? A boundary you failed to enforce? Name it. Drag it out into the light. Your public confession is your first act of reclaiming your power. Now, I hear the objections swirling in your mind. But isn't communication the key to a healthy relationship? You're confusing communication with interrogation. Communication is a dialogue between two sovereign equals. What you are engaging in is a plea from a subordinate. You are not seeking to understand. You are seeking to appease. You cannot communicate your way out of a power deficit. You must first restore power. Only then can true communication occur. Another objection. But being silent is cruel. That's just giving her the silent treatment. The silent treatment is an emotional, childish tantrum. It screams, "I'm hurt and I want you to feel bad." Strategic silence is the opposite. It is the absence of reaction. It is a calm, calculated, and emotionless void. It is not designed to punish her. It is designed to make her offense irrelevant. It communicates without a single word. Your attempt to control my emotional state has failed. Your weapon is useless against me. It starves her power play of the oxygen it needs to survive. Your reaction, and the biggest objection of all, but I love her. I'm afraid of losing her. The man you are right now is already losing her. Women are not attracted to weakness. They may pity it. They may even mother it for a while, but they will never respect it, and they will never desire it. The man she fell for was the man who had a spine, a mission, a frame. By surrendering all of that, you are becoming a ghost of the man you once were. Your fear of losing her is precisely what is guaranteeing that you will. You must be willing to lose her to reclaim yourself. That is the paradox of power. You must demonstrate that your own self-respect is more important to you than her presence in your life. Only then does her presence become a choice rather than a necessity, and only then can she respect you again. This fall from grace was not a loud, dramatic event. It happened in the quiet moments. It happened in the hesitation before you spoke your mind. It happened in the yes you said when your entire being screamed no. It happened in the silence where your boundaries were supposed to be. No one is coming to save you. The rescue mission begins and ends with you. She tested you and you failed. The question now is, are you ready to study for the retest? Because it's coming, and this time you will not be unprepared. There is no going back for the weak man. There is only the construction of the new. The man you were, the one who absorbed that humiliation and considered offering an apology for his own execution, is dead. You will not mourn him. You will strip his corpse for parts and burn the rest. What rises from his ashes will not be a better version of him. It will be a different entity entirely, operating on a new set of protocols. This is not a journey of emotional healing. It is a tactical reconfiguration. This is war, and these are your new orders. First command, cut the excess. Your life is filled with noise that has made you weak. Emotional dependency, validation seeking, the constant monitoring of her moods. These are liabilities. You will perform a strategic amputation. This begins with your digital footprint. You will not block her. Blocking is a loud, emotional reaction. It screams, "You got to me." Instead, you will mute her. Mute her stories, her posts, her updates. She must cease to exist on your screen. You are creating a sensory deprivation chamber for your own mind. Her life, her activities, her attempts to signal her status or happiness are no longer data points for you to analyze. They are irrelevant noise from a defunct frequency. This extends to your physical world. Any object that is a monument to your weakness, gifts from her that you treasure, photos that you gaze at, will be removed. You are not erasing history. You are clearing the battlefield for the campaign to come. You cannot build a fortress on a foundation of sentimental garbage. Second command, install silence. This is your primary weapon, and you will learn to wield it with the precision of an assassin. Your silence is not a punishment. It is a statement of irrelevance. When she inevitably reaches out with a casual, "Hey," a meme, or a question designed to pull you back into her orbit, your response is nothing. Not a delayed response, not a cold response. Nothing. You must understand what this communicates. Your reaction is the fuel her power requires. When you react, you validate her importance. You confirm that she still holds a space in your mind. By offering a void, you communicate the most devastating message possible. You do not exist in a way that warrants a response. You are no longer a participant in her game. You are a ghost she cannot touch. She will escalate. She might try anger, feigned concern, or bait. She is testing the lever, expecting the same jolt of emotion from you. When she pulls the lever and nothing happens, the resulting confusion and frustration are hers to own. You are not giving her the silent treatment. The silent treatment is an emotional tantrum. Strategic silence is a declaration of sovereignty. It is the deafening roar of your indifference. Third command: control the reaction. The war is not won by controlling her. It is won by achieving absolute mastery over yourself. She dismantled you because your emotional state was an open book she could read and manipulate at will. From this moment forward, that book is closed, sealed, and written in a language she will never understand. This means that if and when interaction is unavoidable, a logistical necessity, a public encounter, you will operate from a script of utter neutrality. Your demeanor will be calm, polite, and brief. Your face will betray no anger, no sadness, no longing. You will be as emotionally expressive as a granite statue. Your answers to her questions will be direct, factual, and devoid of any emotional hooks. "How are you?" is met with, "Fine, thanks." "What have you been up to?" is met with, "Busy with work." You give her no threads to pull, no cracks to exploit. This calculated coldness is not about being a jerk. It is about demonstrating that the control panel she once operated is permanently disconnected. You are showing her, not telling her, that her power over you has been nullified. These three commands are the foundation, but a foundation is useless without a structure built upon it. That structure is the relentless pursuit of hierarchical dominance. Your silence and absence are not a passive waiting game. They are the space you create to forge yourself into a weapon. Every ounce of energy you once spent analyzing her texts, worrying about her moods, and seeking her validation will now be redirected with violent focus into 4 key pillars. Pillar 1: physical dominion. You will go to war with your body. You will treat the gym not as a place for health, but as a forge. Every repetition, every drop of sweat is an act of rebellion against the weak man you once were. You are not working out to look good for her. You are sculpting a physical presence that communicates power before you even speak. When you walk into a room, your posture, your physique, your very being should signal that you are a force to be reckoned with. This is non-negotiable. Pillar 2: financial escalation. You will become obsessed with your mission, your work, your business, your craft. This is now your primary battlefield. You will attack it with a ferocity you have not known before. Your ambition is not just about making money. It is about building a kingdom. It is about creating a reality so powerful and compelling that her world seems like a pale shadow in comparison. A man on his mission has no time for petty emotional games. His focus is a weapon, and it is aimed at conquest, not at appeasing a woman's fleeting moods. Pillar 3: social hierarchy. You will aggressively expand your own social circle, independent of her. You will connect with powerful men you can learn from and build alliances. You will cultivate options with other women, not out of desperation, but as a statement of your own value. You must understand this critical truth. A man's value is demonstrated by his options. By becoming a man of high social demand, you fundamentally alter the power dynamic. You are no longer the one afraid of losing her. You are the one she must be afraid of losing. Pillar 4: symbolic power. You will master a skill. You will build something. You will create. You are transforming from a consumer of her reality into a creator of your own. Whether it's learning a language, mastering an instrument, or building a business from scratch, you are proving to yourself and to the world that your value is intrinsic. It is not granted by a woman's approval. It is forged by your own will. This is the plan. It is not a hope. It is a protocol. As Nietzsche wrote, the individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. This reconstruction is you paying that price. The man who wants to be loved will be discarded. The man who imposes his presence will be feared. You are not trying to win her back. You are making the man she disrespected obsolete. Don't reconquer. Replace with a sharper silence. Be an absence that carries weight, not a presence that begs. If this strategic blueprint resonates with the core of your being, if you are ready to stop being a pawn and start becoming a player, then formalize your commitment. Hit the like button as a public declaration that the old you is gone. Subscribe to Dominio Psicologico, and most importantly, activate all notifications so you do not miss a single command in this campaign. Now, answer this in the comments and be brutally honest. Which pillar of your life, your physical body, your financial mission, or your social power, have you neglected the most in your servitude? And what is the very first tactical step you will take, starting tomorrow, to rebuild it? Your answer is not just a comment. It is the first entry in your new war journal. The thirst you feel now is not for her. It is the thirst for dominion. And we are just getting started. And so the silence stretches. Days bleed into weeks, weeks into a month. The void you created is no longer a passive absence. It has become an active living entity. It is a pressure system building in her reality, distorting everything around it. She has sent the probes, the casual texts, the social media provocations, the questions through mutual friends. Each one has vanished into the event horizon of your indifference, sending back no signal. The control panel is dead. The lever is broken. The man she thought she had mastered has become a ghost. This is the moment she can no longer tolerate the vacuum. She engineers a confrontation. She appears where she knows you will be, or she sends the message that cannot be ignored. We need to talk. And you, operating under your new protocols, agree. Not because you owe her an explanation, but because a king does not fear entering any room in his own kingdom. You meet her, and the final act of this psychological drama begins. She has prepared a script. She expects the man she broke, the one who is either seething with repressed anger or desperate for reconciliation. She is prepared for a fight or a surrender. She is prepared for anything except the man who actually walks through the door. You are not the same man. Your posture is different. The way you occupy space is different. There is an economy to your movement, a stillness in your eyes that she has never seen before. You are calm. You are centered. You are elsewhere. You greet her politely, neutrally, the way one might greet a distant colleague, and then you wait. You let her speak. And as she does, you observe. She begins her offensive, perhaps with a veneer of concern. I was worried about you. Or with a direct accusation. I can't believe you've been ignoring me. She is searching your face for the flicker, the crack in the armor, the emotional reaction that will tell her the old you is still in there. She finds nothing. Your face is a mask of placid neutrality. Your gaze is direct but not challenging. You are simply present, a block of granite. You let her words, the ones that once would have sent you spiraling, wash over you and dissipate into nothing. When she finishes, breathless and expecting a response, you do not give her the validation of an argument. You do not defend yourself. You do not accuse her. You might say something utterly disarming in its simplicity. I've been focused on my work. Or, I'm doing well, thank you. You offer her no emotional material to work with. You give her no purchase. She is a mountain climber trying to find a handhold on a sheer wall of polished glass. This is when you see it. The precise moment the power dynamic inverts. Not with a bang, but with a quiet, horrifying snap. Her confusion curdles into frustration. The frustration boils into anger. She might raise her voice, call you cold, arrogant, inhuman. She is throwing every weapon she has left at you, and they are turning to dust before they can reach you. She is no longer the calm, collected surgeon who dismantled you. She is the desperate, flailing patient, realizing the man across from her is not her subject, but her judge. And his verdict is not anger or hatred. It is something far more devastating: irrelevance. The condescension she once wielded has dissolved into a toxic cocktail of uncertainty and a dawning, unwilling respect. She is not respecting a man who won her back. She is respecting a force she can no longer comprehend or control. The game is over. Not because you won, but because you refused to play. You understood the ultimate truth of power. The only way to win a rigged game is to burn the board and walk away to build your own. She wanted to be the queen of your emotional world. Your victory was not in deposing her. It was in letting her kingdom shrink into a forgotten, irrelevant province while you built an empire. Her attempt to humiliate you was the single greatest gift she could have ever given you. It was the catalyst, the sacred fire that burned away the weak, approval-seeking boy and forged the sovereign man in his place. You did not heal from the wound she gave you. You weaponized it. You used its energy to fuel the forge of your own reconstruction. Respect is never begged for. It is never negotiated. It is the silent, automatic byproduct of demonstrated power. It is imposed by your absence, by your focus, by the sheer gravitational pull of your mission. You have become a man whose reality is so dense, so compelling, that the petty dramas of others can no longer find oxygen within it. You are no longer a character in her story. You are the author of your own epic, and she did not even make the footnotes. The silence was not a punishment for her. It was a graduation for you. It was the final exam of your old life, and by refusing to answer, you passed with honors. If this new reality is one you are ready to claim, if you are prepared to trade the comfortable chains of approval for the cold, hard crown of self-sovereignty, then finalize your commitment to this path. Solidify your resolve by pressing the like button. Subscribe to Dominio Psicologico and activate all notifications, for this is no longer a channel, it is your armory. And now, I want you to answer this question in the comments, and answer it from the deepest part of your soul. What is the one thing you are most afraid of losing if you commit to this path? And why do you now understand that you must be willing to lose it to truly win yourself? Your fear is the final enemy. Name it, and you begin the process of starving it of its power. She did not break you. She introduced you to the man you were always meant to be. The greatest revenge is not to make her regret what she did. It is to become a man for whom her existence is no longer a relevant data point.